Welcome to the Buy Box Bandits podcast.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Buy Box Bandits podcast, episode 199, almost on the big 200. Today, we're joined by Claudine, aka Amazon Love Story, and we're going to talk about how she has 5 kids, a full-time job, and is still able to make selling on Amazon work. And as we were talking, off camera prior to the episode, how you can integrate selling on Amazon into your life and how it can really improve your life, but doesn't have to take over it. Doesn't have to be a full-time thing immediately. Doesn't have to take over your life, and doesn't have to be a full-time thing regardless if you don't want it to be down the line and everything too, right? And we know, as we've seen with the Amazon update from a couple days ago, a lot of issues with shipment softwares lately. We had a whole year to prepare. Boxum's fully prepared on the new Amazon API for shipping. So if you want to try out Boxum for 14 days completely free, you can do so on Boxum.com. We got tons of awesome analytics features going. So if your current shipment software isn't working end-to-end, doesn't have 2D barcodes, anything like that, check out Boxum. And let's get right into the episode. Good to have you here, Claudine.
Thank you. I'm so excited about this. I'm excited to share my story.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Absolutely. We're excited to have you too. I've been seeing you've been putting out some good stuff on Instagram as well. So you just kind of want to, give the viewers some background and context about who you are and what you're up to in life and selling on Amazon?
Absolutely. So my story goes back actually to 2020, right? Like we just had our 5th baby. And that's really when sort of like the world started shutting down, right? I wouldn't recommend anyone having a baby at that time. It was like an opportunity, but it was also like a scary time of what was happening financially and in the world, right? So we have our 5th baby and I'm up late at night, like on all these odd hours, and I'm stuck in this algorithm. I think this content that's like really speaking to me about people making money selling on Amazon. I'm like, this can't be true. Like I always thought that selling on Amazon, like your stuff comes directly from Amazon. Couldn't be further from the truth. It's really these third-party sellers that are putting the product out there for Amazon, right? And then Amazon shipping it to the customer, prime shipping. So I'm up late at night. I'm, scrolling like on my phone. I'm nursing the baby, and I'm really getting interested in this. Like this seems interesting to me. Let alone 2021 starts to happen. I get back into work. I work a full-time job from maternity leave. And that's when I start seeing a lot of layoffs. I'm in corporate, like layoffs happen all the time, but it was like nothing that we had ever seen before, right? So for me, like my job, it always felt very secure. But at that time, it was like, man, like, I don't know, like this could very well be a real possibility for our family. Like what would happen if that happened for our family? So my son actually at that time also, I have a son, he's 16 now, but at the time we were talking about where he's going to go to high school. And the perfect opportunity came up for him in this private school, not just for academics, but he's also a big basketball player and athletics and stuff. So for me, him wanting to go to this private high school and having that unsteady like relationship with my current like position, I was like, it is not his fault that now we have daycare expenses for a baby, right? Like a whole nother mortgage here, regular mortgage and expense with the baby. And he wants to go to this private high school. Like we just need to figure out how to make it work. So that's when in 2021 is when I really got down to like, I'm going to look into all that content that really interests me and like figure out how are these Amazon sellers doing it, right? There's a huge opportunity here. So I was looking at how to get started, and there was really a gap in the market. It was like, you can start for free, 100% start for free, or you can pay someone, a big time seller, like $1,000, right? And get going. And at that time, like I really wasn't ready to take that risk, not knowing how stable my job was. I got to work. 2021, I would literally put on my headphones, my AirPods, and like now I'm like running and working out and, getting back after like the baby and stuff. I literally, this is like full circle for me because I would put on this podcast and just start learning for free how to get it going, how to get it up and running, right? As much content as I can consume, YouTube, like there's so much out there. And I just grinded it. And I told my son, I was like, if that's the school you want to go to, we're going to make it happen. No matter, like, we have the daycare expenses, right? So we put him in the private high school, not really knowing how we're going to afford it. And this is like a God story for me because I incorporate God into my business, everything I do, right? But within 3 months, that that income from Amazon was the exact same amount of what his monthly tuition expense was. And from there, like, I was hooked. I was like, all right, like, we're just going to keep going. And once you get like sales, it like fuels that fire. Like, I'm ready to get more. I'm ready to figure out more. Like, it's actually starting to work, right? The you see it starting to work for you. And I just kept going at it. So yeah, then from there, like, last year I just continued to grind, continued to grow. Here's the thing though, and like, you can start for free, but you're going to end up investing like time. For me, it was about 6 months of research before I felt comfortable, like I'm ready to go in and I understand and I know what I'm doing. Last year, I actually took some time and created a course to really hit that gap in the market where it's like, I'm not ready to invest $1,000, but like, if I start for free and invest my time, I'm still missing out on an opportunity of making money in between, right? So I really started to, my regular full-time job is actually project management. So for me, this was my area of expertise. How do I take Amazon for the regular everyday person and break it down into actionable steps, but still keep it accessible and affordable? And that's exactly what I'm doing now. I started teaching it just about 3 months. 3 months ago, we launched our course, Live, Love, Sell. And that's where Amazon Love Story came about. So yeah, I've been putting out the content to really teach it because I saw like how it helps my family. Like, it could help so many other families as well. And it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Like, it could totally be that balance, because Amazon FBA, I usually 99% of my products are FBA because I need it to run when I'm doing other things. Like, I'm raising my kids. Right now it's basketball season. I like every day I'm in like a gym doing basketball, like working my job, right? Like, I'm still trying to get my workouts in, like every day, like life is a balance. So having this business just puts me at an advantage because it runs like automatically in the background of whatever I'm doing. And then when I'm ready to work on it, like, you still have to put in the work, but you can put it in like flexible around your time. So that's why it's like perfect opportunity for families.
So first and foremost, we got to get this situated. How is your son's jumper?
There's
He is
a
quite the
wide
shooter.
spectrum from Garrett to Miles here. So Garrett being on the you know what I mean, what someone who's never played basketball before looks like, right? And then Miles on the spectrum of, a savvy veteran, basically.
You know what's great though for him? Like, he really saw like the progress of the business, and all my kids, like, I have a 15-year-old as well. Like, I have the gamut of ages. Like, we have the teenagers, and now my little one, my baby, is going to be 5, right? Like, that was 2020 was 5 years ago. But they come home and they're like, how's Amazon sales today? Right? Like, it ends up being like this family business because they get invested into it. Like, my son, before he's able to get a job, like, people talk about hiring VAs. I'm like, I got kids. Like, my 4-year-old helps me prep product. I don't even know if I can say this. She all she wants is a piece of chocolate at the end. Like, she's like the best worker. How many viewers do you have? I don't know if I can say that. She is the best worker that I have. So it really ended up becoming like this family business where everyone is invested in it. But that's the beauty of it. It was great.
Yeah, I love what you said about those, about how once you started to see some proof of concept come in, it got significantly easier to doing. That holds true for the biggest things in life and the smallest things in life. Like, when you don't feel like getting some work done, but you do the first couple minutes and you just,
well, momentum is huge.
Yeah, you train yourself to get it started as quick as possible, right? And then, because even though your current mind might know, you deep down, once you get started, it's going to get easier. The path's going to come more clear. That holds true both on the Monday morning when you don't feel like getting started on the project that takes 17 minutes, right? And the more macro goals over the lifetime too, right? But you need the smaller ones to eventually get into bigger ones as well. And that is so true. And I just work every day to train myself to realize that more and more and get those initial things starting. So talk about what that initial momentum actually looked like, right? Was it a big hit from one retail arbitrage store? Talk through like kind of the tactical side of what it actually looked like to get going with that stuff.
Yeah, I tell everyone that they should really start with online arbitrage, and I'll tell you why. Because when you're at a store and you're scanning products, if you don't know like the data and what you're actually looking for, you can get stuck there and not make the wrong choice, right? You feel pressure. Do I put this away? Do I take it? Like, should I leave and check out the data and come back? Like, the key to this business is understanding the data. And if you can get good at looking at the data, 100% you can do this business. So I always tell everyone, start with online arbitrage, because you can sit in front of your computer screen as long as you need and be like, okay, this is a good buying decision. And initially, those buying decisions are going to be slow until you understand what is a good buy. Like, you'll get a lot faster. It comes down to practice, right? Like, you're not going to get a jumper if you're not shooting jumpers every second that you can. Like, it all comes down to practice. With basketball, with this, I don't even want to go into, my husband is actually a basketball coach as well. So like, we have that whole like coaching like aspect side of things. It's like, what you work on is what you'll get really good at. So if it takes time initially to understand the data, do it in front of your computer screen, because when you're in the store, you're going to feel pressured. And especially, I think like new people are always like, they try and scan, or like maybe some people don't care. Like, other people are going to be looking at you, right? Like, initially you may be like, I feel a little weird here. And then you start doing it, you're like, I don't care what anyone thinks. Yeah, I'm
Right.
scanning, I'm running a business, I'm running e-commerce. Like, this is what keeps us going, like this is paying private school tuition and family vacations and everything else thereafter. So like, but to get to that point, you'll find really great margins in retail arbitrage, because you'll find stuff like where you're making it available globally, like other people don't have access to that, right? It's in your little market down the street where my house is, like. But for online arbitrage is where you're gonna really learn the process and understand the data and get good and make fast buying decisions. So do that first and then get into the store, right? Like, I also do wholesale. So I started online arbitrage, and then alongside, after I got good at like what I was looking at, right? I go to the stores. I have a great location where I'm off of like a busy road. We got a ton of stores. So it works out well. We got UPS right down the street as well when we're sending boxes. But wholesale as well, like that is just a whole new beast. Like, you can learn that, take what you do for, you find a product, and like you found a good product that's profitable for you, take that, understand like, where's that brand coming from, where's this product coming from, and take that like one step next, right? And then just contact that brand and be like, this was a profitable product for me, I found it one time. The problem with retail and online arbitrage, you may not get the same deal over and over again. So if you want a sustainable business where you're going to keep going back to the products that are profitable, you need to start trying to open up some wholesale accounts. So it's not this like continuous hustle. For someone that has a full-time job and is trying to balance it, sometimes like that continuous like hustle of finding the products can leave you paralyzed until you take it to the next step and be like, I can always go to this supplier and get the same price and it makes me money. And like, those are like your replenishable products, right?
So a lot of the stuff you've done over the past couple months with your content has been kind of focused on that newer seller to get them into the game. What have you seen is one of the biggest differences and keys to those folks that see the success and ultimately stick with it longer term, as opposed to the ones that maybe fall off after a couple of weeks because they don't get traction? Is it having success early? Is it having what is it that differentiates the people that see that success as opposed to the ones that don't?
As with anything, you have to go back when you hit like a roadblock and be like, what's my driver? Like, what is driving this forward, right? Like, what is that fire that lights you? Like, at the end of the day, for me, there was no option for this not to work, because like, we already had my son in private school, right? Like, We had bills like mounting up. Like, you give anything to a mom, like, no offense, like, you guys are great, but moms get things done, right? Like, there was no option for this not to work for my family because I had already invested a ton of time. I maybe didn't invest a ton of money, but I was already so like invested
Yeah.
in time, and I knew I had already said yes and to him going to school. So now we had to figure out a way to make it work. So for anyone that's hitting like a roadblock, like, pivot, but keep that like driver forefront for you to keep going, like whatever that is. If it's your family, if it's like, a lot of people do this, and like I actually enjoy my 9 to 5. I never wanted this to take over that, but for some people that's their driver. Like, they want to escape that 9 to 5 and they
Mhm.
want to do this 100%. Once you learn that strategy, you can do it 100%. You can scale it to what works into your life, right? It's like, for me, it's to a point where it's at a good balance. But if I wanted to escape my 9 to 5, I now know that strategy that it takes to escape my 9 to 5, because you can 100% do this full time.
Yeah, on the time management thing. So I should have said this in the intro race. Like, this is like such a great example, both for people who got a lot going on like you, right? Realizing that it's possible, but also for the college kids or the 28-year-old with a girlfriend and a 17-pound dog that swears that he doesn't have time, but he plays fantasy football every day, right? Like, those people, like, if you're one of those people watching, like, this is a great example of obviously how you have an astronomical amount of time relative to what some people do, right? So can you break down your time management strategy and how the heck you're able to make all this stuff work?
Yeah, I don't sleep. No, I'm just kidding. Like, I am a huge multitasker. Like, when I'm working out, instead of listening to music, I listen to podcasts. I listen to things that are going to move the needle forward. When I'm sitting down and I need to be productive, I take those tasks that are going to be actionable steps that move the needle forward for my business, right? Like, and I joke about like my kids being my VAs and such, but like
I
that
love it.
really,
I
like,
always
that
say
is,
that to students that are like that, and they love it too.
that helps out. Like, as much as, like, yeah, my 4-year-old is kind of slow, but she like loves it, she feels a part of it. Like, those are tasks that like I can, help. Like, she can help me, right? And then she starts to feel a part of it. I say this all the time. My husband ended up becoming my shipping department. My 16-year-old as well. Like, they take boxes to UPS. But funny story is, like, you never know what door of opportunity it's going to open, because my UPS down the street, right? They started seeing like my 15-year-old at the time like take boxes and always like, help my husband carry the boxes. They actually offered him a job like before he turned 16. They were like, when you turn 16, come back, like, we could use your help, because they just see it. Like, you never know what door of opportunity it's going to open, as long as you take that first step.
And it just sets them on such a good path, right? Responsibility, showing ownership, like actually, like I mean, I'm sure it's going to translate into a ton of good things down the road for every one of your kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, like, they, come home from school, they're like, what are sales like today? Like, they get invested in it. And um I am a huge component of like diversify your income, right? Like, I work in corporate. I've seen like my best work friends get laid off, and it absolutely devastated their families. So when it came to decision time, I'm like, we need more income. I can continue to climb the corporate ladder. Like, I do love what I do. I'm already in a senior position. Like, I know how to execute large like projects. Like, I'm a project manager for corporate. That's what I do, right? But the decision for me was easy, because diversifying your income is the smartest way to live your life, because I wake up at an advantage. Like, I have sales that are going, that are in my sleep. I wake up to profit. Like, you have a system running all the time. But yeah, absolutely. I my one piece of advice for someone that like hits that roadblock is to just keep that driver going, like whatever that is. Like, if you need to have it like posted up on your wall, like, what is driving you to keep going and
Yeah,
keep that
write it
fire
down.
lit?
Write it down. Look at it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Consider all these things. Because you got like when you really do think about it, like you got so many, so there's so many reasons to keep going with stuff. And at the end of the day, outside of like the occasional like negative feeling, there's really very few reasons to fail relative to what you can gain by continuing to go, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
write that shit down all the time, right? Look at it, talk about it, right? Find other people that want it, find other people that have it, you know? And I'm thinking, speaking of that point too, there's an epidemic of people who have give these fake labels to themselves that they're not social media people, yada yada yada. So therefore, they have to solely rely on only all the people in their life that got them thus far, that don't give a shit about selling Amazon, that don't know about selling Amazon, which is obviously all false. We've connected through the internet. I'm sure you've connected with a lot of other people through the internet. In my personal opinion, the biggest thing missing from most Amazon sellers is Amazon seller friends, right? So
Yeah.
talk about like kind of if you have that, what inspired you to get online and share your journey and how that's positively impacted from you. Because I really do believe after seeing a lot of people thrive and a lot of people not succeed, the biggest differentiating variable is who they talk to on a day-to-day basis. And the vast majority of people that fail don't talk to any people on any Amazon people on a day-to-day basis. So of course it's a lot harder.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like you 100% can get started with this business on your own. But like you said, like you're gonna hit some roadblocks, like who you surround yourself with in business and in life will help you succeed to get further, right? So I did this 2.5 years on my own because I already had
Wow,
like
impressive. That's so, yeah.
I did. Like I had all these other things going. Like I had my
Yeah.
family like as my driver. So like that's what kept me going like so long. But I didn't really want to put myself out there. I wasn't ready to do that. I was ready to prove the concept, right? Once I had proof of concept, I had limited time. So like I all I wanted to do was like continue and keep that growing, keep that business growing. Like continue the major projects that I'm working for my 9 to 5. Like I had to keep up with everything and like raise this little baby. Like at the time, like she was a baby, right? So like I didn't have a lot of time to like join communities and really put myself out there on social media. It was within 3 months. Like this is all brand new to me, the whole social media aspect. And this is my year where I'm like, I want to collaborate. I want to get the word out there that this is available for families, right? Like this opportunity only came because I started my social media account 3 months ago. But not only that, like I've met so many amazing people that are in that same struggle. Like they're looking for something that is flexible, right? That you don't have to have a major overhead to get started. You can start at your own pace. You can learn the data. You get predictable results. Some people say like, okay, let's break it down. If you need an extra $300 a day, like what is it that you need? If you need an extra $300 a day, the results are so predictable. If you're doing a 30% return on investment, then you need to spend $1,000, like you need to get $1,000 in sales and you'll get your $300 a day, right? Like once you learn this strategy, you can 100% scale it. Sure, you can scale it faster in a community. I 100% agree with that, but you don't necessarily need that. You need that to draw connections. But if you want to just do it on your own and keep quiet and like learn the strategy, keep going. Like I did it for 2.5 years that way. You know, it was only recently I came on social media to say like, hey, like this is a true opportunity for families that families need to know about this.
Yeah,
But I
and
mean,
you're
going
really
back to
gonna
what we're
see
go
like
ahead.
the next 9 months or so, getting into like a full year of it, you're really gonna see how fast that accelerates it too, as well, and everything. And that like I think there's a lot of people listening to this right now that are like that feel very lonely with it and
Yeah.
everything, and doing stuff like this is so important. But like even just like having a little bit of a presence makes all the difference, and it gives people upside, right?
Hmm.
To get people in their life that you just don't have otherwise, right?
Yeah.
As well too, right? So and those of you guys
Maybe
thinking, oh yeah,
maybe because I have such a busy like I have
yeah,
5 kids who are always like high five, we have Amazon sales today. Like maybe for that, like that
mm,
is my community. Like that
true,
really became
yeah,
my community. Whereas if you are doing it on your own, I don't know because I didn't come from that. aspect, but like it's great to surround yourself with entrepreneurs and business minded people. And if they're doing the same business as you, like, sure, share leads, you know, like that's awesome if you have that community. For me, my community and was like my family, like high five, we did it, you know.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, it's just so much more important than the beginning, right? Because we talked about how momentum is so huge. You don't have organic momentum in the beginning, right? You don't have a bunch of purchases and a bunch of sales and months of trajectory of increasing trajectory of sales to go off of. So you need to
Yeah.
make that momentum with the people around you, right? Someone
Yeah.
else has a big sales day. You feed off that energy. Someone else is doing a lot of sourcing. You feed off that energy, right? And so when you don't have that organic momentum just based on what you've done in the history of your business, you need anything you can like soak that energy from.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I also say to everyone who does this, like celebrate every single step of the way. Every small win is a cause for celebration. I remember the first time I listed like my products, and it was FBA, so I didn't even have a sale. It wasn't even like, it was literally I just put it on the platform and nobody could even purchase it yet. But we had sushi that night. Like I was like so excited that I had figured that out, you know, like celebrate every win along the way. Like as a project manager in a corporate position, I take big projects and break them down into small steps. So they're small, like doable steps, but don't take, you have to take advantage of the small celebrations in between to keep you going to that larger goal, right?
Boom, love that. Yeah, absolutely, right? So those first couple steps for those of you guys listening, you know who are beginners, right? Amazon seller account open, right?
Yeah.
Seller amp and keep the subscriptions. Underrated one, but I would say follow 100 Amazon seller social media accounts. That for free for 15 minutes a day is going to give you a ton of free game, right? That's a great thing too, right? Packing supplies, nice and easy. We have YouTube videos, you know, that break down that stuff. And then first items listed, 10 items listed, first sales. And that realistically can all be done within a couple weeks. And that will give you drastic upside to, you know, really incorporate this into your life, you know, effectively and everything. So if you could go back a couple years ago, Claudine, to when you were getting started, what are the things you would have told yourself, whether it be tactical, mindset, whatever, that would have helped you succeed a lot quicker?
Well, so I didn't understand that when I got started, it was learn for free or spend $1,000, right? I didn't understand the concept of, I was like, well, I'm not going to take the risk and spend $1,000. I don't even know if it works, right? In the long run, I learned for free, which was great, but I invested my time. Like I said, you're still missing out on money that you would have made because now I took 6 months to get started. And in the same sense, I actually made a pretty big mistake that ended up costing me probably more had I invested money into learning the process. But that's exactly why I really saw this gap in the market, and I created Live Love Sell because it's a course that will take you from start to finish, and I keep it affordable. I keep it accessible for the everyday family and the everyday person that wants to get started. So the other thing I would say is that one good relationship can take your business from 0 to 100. Like when I got started in wholesale, I was like, I'm going to have to make all of these calls. Like I like make at least 100 calls, get 99 no's and get one yes. Right. Like that was my mindset for it. Yeah. I ended up making 10 calls and I got a distributor right down the street who literally brings me product to my door, and I place an order with him every single week. And he's got a gamut of SKUs. Like it doesn't have to be like what you're making at. Just get started and you'll end up see like the fruits of your labor, right? Like with wholesale, people think like, okay, you're going to have to do a minimum order. When I call them like, what's your minimum order quantity? And I'm trying to like see if, you know, I could afford that for my business because I was this small business and I didn't even know how much I was able to spend with this guy. And I was like, how much do you charge for shipping? He's like, you're right down the street. Like I'll bring it to you. Right. So all you have to do for wholesale, and let me break it down for you really easy. Like you literally Google where you're at and find wholesale distributors within like 5, 10, 15-mile radius of your house and use that to your advantage. Like wherever your business is, like use that to your advantage and call them up and be like, I am a local, you know, e-commerce retail business with a global reach. Like how could we do business together and mutually benefit for each other? And this guy that I have now, he actually sells to like all of the local gas stations, and I'm his one like e-commerce customer, and he does a lot of the work for me, essentially, where he's getting all these other SKUs and working with these bigger brands. Like I don't have the capacity to do that because he has trucks coming in. He's got a warehouse. So one good relationship will take your business from 0 to 100, and it's not necessarily like what you think. Like you just get started and doors of opportunity will open.
Yeah, and that
Dang.
could be you and a wholesaler. That could be you and a friend from a Facebook group, or that
Yeah.
could be you and a local retail arbitrage manager. Right? There's a whole mess of capacities that could be, and that could be you with a private label supplier if that's the route you want to go down to, and everything.
Yeah.
So for people who want to see more of your journey, Claudine, where can they follow you on social media?
I am on Instagram, Amazon Love Story, no spaces, just Amazon Love Story on Instagram. And that's really the social media that I have at the moment. Like I am, you know, getting my journey going. Like I said, I've only put myself out there for 3 months, but I do have a small community. We're a growing community of people that have taken my course, and they have access to me like every day now. And just really helping them get started on this journey. So we're a small, like growing community. As you can see, I don't have a ton of followers, but that's where I'm really recording the entire journey of how to get started.
Cool. Well, that was an excellent blueprint on how you guys can get started and be successful selling Amazon part-time, even if you have 9 to 5, even if you have a busy schedule, even if you got kids, so on and so forth. So really appreciate you coming on and sharing your journey, and appreciate everyone for watching. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.